Hello all, my name is Ashutosh Avdani and today I am going to give a presentation on longest common substring problem and ways to solve it. This presentation has been made for class COT 5405 taken by Professor Dr. Sharma Thankachan. So let us begin. The problem statement. If we are given two strings of total length n, we have to find the longest common substring in O of n time complexity. Let us consider the given example. Here the string 1 is Canada, the string 2 is banana. So what are the possible common substrings in both of them? The first substring would be A. The second substring would be AN. The third substring would be ANA. ANA. It is quite easy to see that ANA is the longest common substring between both of them. We just have to prove that the method for finding the substring can be done in O of n time complexity. Now let us look at few of the common solutions. The first solution is a trivial solution and the most easiest of all. In this solution, we consider two strings as two different arrays and increment over the first array to find any common substring in that array itself. Once we find a substring, we check whether that particular substring is also present in the second array. Let me give a quick example so that I can make it more clear. So if the given first string is of length maybe 4 and the next substring is of length 6. Okay, so what the process will be that the first substring, the first array basically will try to find a substring within itself. For that, it will traverse the array in m square given that if the length of the array is m. Now once it finds a substring, let us consider it as x, y, z, then it will try to find this particular substring in this array, the second array, which can be of length m. Therefore, the total time complexity for both these arrays will be O of n into m square. Now, this is a very large time complexity. Therefore, we cannot consider this solution. Moving forward, we have the next solution as the dynamic programming. The dynamic programming. In this, we use dynamic programming to get a better time complexity compared to the trivial solution. In this method, what we will do is try to find common suffixes of the string between both the strings. And whatever common suffixes we get, we still save the length of that suffix in a variable. But going forward, this is also not the best solution as we will still have to traverse both the array, and for that what we will get is the time complexity of O of m into n. To save the space complexity, what we can do is we can use a 2D array and save whatever length which we are getting it in the last two columns of the 2D array. But still it is not helpful as the time complexity is not getting reduced and it is still O of m into n. Now let us look at the best solution. As mentioned before, the problem with dynamic solution is the time complexity required to solve the problem. For example, if in case we get two very large strings, then the time complexity will be O of n square. Therefore, the best solution is using a suffix tree or suffix array for finding the longest common substring. The idea behind this solution is to basically build a suffix tree or maybe a suffix array from that suffix tree, and then using a bottom-up approach or depth first traversal method and determining the substring from that. Going forward, we are going to explore this solution in more depth. Now, before going towards the solution, let us first understand what is a suffix tree. A suffix tree is a data structure which uses a tree-like pattern to find a tree-like structure to find patterns in a string in constant time. So basically, what we can say is that a suffix tree uses a tree-like structure to find patterns which are along the edges, basically. Something like that. So now before building a suffix tree, we have to first understand its rules, which I will quickly explain orally. Now, the first rule is that tree must have exactly n numbered leaves. I will explain what does the n stands for, but a tree must have exactly n numbered leaves. The second rule is every internal node will have at least two child nodes. Basically, if this is our internal node, then it should have at least two child nodes. Here we have got three, so it should have at least two. So a tree drawn like this is not allowed. All the edges will be labeled with a non-empty substring of the main string. So basically, these edges must have some or the other value. It should never be empty. So again, if we consider this, here the edge doesn't have any value, so this is not allowed. No same character string will be allowed to start at the parent node. So if we consider again this tree as the example, then as you can see, B, T, A, I, these all are different from each other. Therefore, this parent node cannot have basically another child node and the edge value is B. This is not allowed. This should never happen. And the string obtained from the path of the root to the leaf node should spell out the suffix. So basically, a suffix, if it is, let us consider BAI, if it was the suffix, then along the path, it should be able to form the suffix again. Okay. Now, as I think I haven't explained what exactly is suffix. So let me explain with an example the entire structure of what exactly a suffix tree is and what is meant by a suffix using an example. Let me clear out this. Okay. So as we can see that we are taking basically we'll consider an example known as of a common string as banana. So the suffixes are basically the substrings which can be formed going from the start of the string to the end of the string, all the combinations which are possible. You cannot just jump from B to A to N. No, we have to go like first, second, third, fourth. No jumping of the characters is allowed. So basically, the most possible suffixes for banana are so 7 possible suffixes are possible in for the string banana. Now now before going forward, you might be considering what this dollar mean. So this dollar is a delimiter. So basically, this character indicates the program that the string has been completed, and therefore it should stop. If we don't add this dollar, then the program will not be able to understand whether the string is still continuing or is there is a gap or something like that. Therefore, we add a delimiter, which is the dollar. Basically, it doesn't has to be a dollar. It can be any character which is not present in the string, but the dollar is a unique character. Therefore, we are adding it. Now, let us go over the possible suffixes for banana. So it is the word itself, banana, then ANANA, then NANA, ANA, and go forward up till dollar. So these are the possible 7 suffixes in a suffix tree. Now let us consider a suffix tree from all the possible given suffixes. Now, the first step while constructing the suffix tree will be constructing the root node. And then we've constructed the first suffix, which was banana. Then we construct the second suffix. Going forward, we construct the third suffix. Now, you will see here a small change that this ANA, so it was ANA has been converted to ANA and dollar. So what it has happened is this the 5-letter ANA, this has been converted to NA and dollar. Basically, after the fourth or the fifth character, the fourth character is repeat of the first one, and therefore the next suffix, which is the ANA, was the ANA, has to be splitted into 2 parts. Therefore, we split it using this way. Similar here, similar in this scenario as well. It was NA dollar, which will now get splitted into NA dollar, and this NA, the previous NA which was there, will come down here, So basically, so NA dollar and this dollar is the dollar. Again, this ANA will get splitted and NA and NA. I think it should be A basically. And now finally we are displaying the suffix numbers which should match with the first rule, if you remember. So basically the n in the first rule is the n or the number of suffixes from the root node. As you can see, there were 7 suffixes, therefore 7 total leaf nodes have been found. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Yeah. So let us verify whether we have completed all the rules. The tree has 7 numbered leaves, which is equal to the suffixes given in the tree. Yes, we have done that. The second is every internal node should have at least 2 child nodes. Yes, there are 3 internal nodes, 1, 2, and 3, and each have got like 2 child nodes, at least 2 child nodes. Yes, we have completed that. Then all the edges have been labeled with a non-empty substring. Yes, all the edges have some or the other substring as well. No same character has been allowed to start at the same parent node. Yes, we can approve that all the characters have different all the parent nodes have different child nodes, and the original string can be concatenated from all the edge nodes. Yes, banana, NA. So basically this I think shouldn't be I'm sorry for the mistake. This shouldn't be an A, it should be just A. So it will be ANA dollar. So we form the first thing. The second will be $NAANA. So yeah, then this one should formed here NANANA. So yes, we have verified basically that all the rules of a suffix tree, basically all the rules for drawing a suffix tree have been verified, and we can say that what we have drawn is a proper suffix tree. Now Yukonon's algorithm. Now what we have seen is that we have drawn a suffix tree, but there are many ways of drawing a suffix tree. The problem with the approach followed before is that it doesn't follow the O of n time complexity. But for our longest common substring problem, we have to follow the O of n time complexity. Therefore, we are following the Yukonon's algorithm. There are many ways of drawing a suffix tree, but to get that O of n time complexity, what we have to learn is we have to learn the Yukonon's algorithm. So to draw the suffix tree in O of n time, the Yukonon's algorithm follows a particular characteristics. The first characteristic is it builds an implicit tree from considering the first character of the string, then it adds the next character progressively. This adding of the next character makes the algorithm as online algorithm. I will be explaining it with an example, just try to understand right now. The next step is, the next character is, the algorithm uses suffix extension rules to construct implicit tree on top of the another implicit or the already present tree. What are these extension rules? We will see in the next slide. And we are basically, and each phase I plus 1 is further divided into I plus 1 extension, one for each of the I plus 1 suffixes of S, win 1 to I plus 1. I will explain what this exactly means. So basically each Yukonon's tree is divided into different phases, and each phase determines whatever the previous implicit tree was and just adds, or it doesn't do anything. I will explain what the extension rules are so that it will be clear. So yeah, the rules of extension, suffix extension. There are primarily 3 extension rules related to suffix extension. The first is, if the path from the root labeled as j to I ends at the leaf edge, then character s of I plus 1 is just added to the end of the label of that leaf edge. So basically, if there is already an implicit tree or maybe an implicit edge already present, then whatever the new character or an old character will be added, we will just append it to the original character. I will explain going forward, I will explain it to you what exactly it means and how we are going to go forward. The second rule is, if the path from the root labeled as j to I ends at non-leaf edge and the next character is not s of I plus 1, then a new leaf edge with label s of I plus 1 and number j is created starting from character s of I plus 1. A new internal node will also be created if s of 1 plus I ends inside a non-leaf edge. What this means is, in easier terms, what we can say is that if a new character appears after we have got a substring, so basically a substring which has been repeated, and if a new character appears after that substring, then we have to create a new leaf edge, or basically what we have to do is we have to split that parent node and make 2 different child nodes. We will be seeing an example so that we can understand better this rule in much better way. The third rule is, if the path from the root labeled s of j to I ends at non-leaf edge and the next character is s of I plus 1, then we have to do nothing. So what does this mean is that there is already a character present, or maybe a edge or maybe a substring already present in the tree, and if the same gets repeated again, we don't have to do anything. We will just append the counter for it. So I will explain it with an example so that everything will be clear. Now let us consider an example. So the input string is banana. This is the most easiest string to explain. So I am taking this as an example. Now there are few counters which you will see here. For Euconons, basically we have to initialize 4 counters. The first is active node. This is the node at which we are looking at, or basically the node at which we are working on. The next is active edge. The active edge is the edge we are, again, the edge which we are looking at, just like node, it is the edge on which we are working on. Now, since it is the root node, so we have kept it as n. In going forward, it will get changed to A, B, C, or A, B, N basically. Active length, the length of the characters or the length of the substrings which we are looking at. And remainder, the number of repeated characters. Okay. Now, according to the first rule, we have already started with the example. So basically, the first step would be just drawing a root node and nothing else. So the first step, according to the first rule, is we will increment and go towards the string, and we will check whatever the first character is and just append it. It will get appended. So what we are doing here is we are basically following the first rule here. Now going forward, we will just increment the pointer to the next value in the string, and we will just add it here. So A will get added here, BA will get added here. So now you will be considering why BA. If you remember, in the suffix tree, we get multiple suffixes. The entire string is a suffix of itself. And according to the first rule of Euconon's algorithm, whatever new character is getting added in the string, we have to add it in the tree as well. So BA again gets added here, and the new character will get a new edge, a new node, which is A. Okay, and yes, similar for N. So once we get N, the N will get added here. The edge will, new edge for N will be this one, and BAN. So basically BAN will be the original. So 1, 2, 3. Now we are coming towards the interesting part of Euconon's algorithm. So as you can see that A, we already had A. So immediately what will happen? There are 3 things which will happen. The active edge will be changed from N, which was the root node, to A, because now we are interested in A, and whatever the next characters will be added, they will be added along the active edge only. Then the second, what we are interesting thing happened is the length. As we have incremented the array and we are getting a similar or the same character, immediately the active length will be increased, and which will be added here. So what we are doing is that according to the first rule and the third rule, we are just adding it and incrementing the counters as well. So the remainder and the active length is 1, and the third rule, which was to do nothing. So we have not created any new node or any new edge, but we have just appended A and added a basically something to differentiate from it getting repeated. So basically A has got repeated, so we have added A, and the bar is to differentiate it from the original, nothing else. The next, similar for the next step, the remainder, so A and the remainder will get activated, appended. The active length will also increase, and the values which have been repeated, so AN will be repeated, so we have added it that. Again A, so ANA. If you will see that A and A is getting added, so whatever the addition or whatever the new characters we are coming, we according to the first rule, we are only adding them, and according to the third rule, we don't have to do anything. This is very important. But we are at the same time, we are also incrementing the length and the remainder. Now, after A, we come across the dollar sign. Now, dollar is in itself a new character. Then, according to this, what will happen is we have to now, the second rule will come into play. And once the second rule comes into play, then we will have to split the string into two parts. One will be the new character which is getting added, which is the dollar. As you can see, the dollar has got a new edge now. And the previous, if you will remember, if you will see here, so the NA part and ANA part. So this will now get splitted into two parts. So ANA will remain along this edge only, and NA will form a new edge. As you can see here, ANA, NA, dollar. So both this dollar, the dollar symbol will of course get appended here, and as you can see that this and this string is now in itself a different suffix, as well as the ANA, NA dollar. And once we have splitted from this node, the active edge will now get changed from A to N, and the counters will get decremented, as there are only now two remainders or two common things, because ANA is one, but not so now the common things are NA and A. And again, the NA part will get splitted according to rule second, and this crooked line, as you can see, this crooked line is the suffix link. What the suffix link means is that this link shows us the similar children or the suffixes from the similar node. So $NA are the similar suffixes. Therefore, this link joins two nodes, and this link is known as the suffix link. Now again, the active edge is A, because as you can see that NA and A was added here, so that A has is still present in the counter, so we have to remove that as well. And that is what we have done here. So now so the NA will get shifted from the previous slide. If you will see, this NA will get shifted here. This NA will form two different child or leaf nodes, and the tree will be like this. So basically, the ANA, so this is NA, and this is the NA dollar, which was earlier present here. Now this was ANA, so NA, so the dollar will get here, and NA will come here. So this is the NA dollar suffix. This is the NA dollar suffix, and this is the A dollar suffix. And as you can see that this suffix tree will come here, and this suffix tree will go over here. I'm sorry, this suffix, I'm saying the suffix tree, this is actually the suffix link. So this link will get formed here, and this is similar as to this one. So 6 will point towards 8. So basically what it says is that these both suffix links are similar. And of course, the dollar which we have to show will form a small leaf node over here. And as you can see, this active node again the edge, basically the active edge will come back towards the root. The length and the remainder will remain 0. I hope I'm clear with the Yukonon's algorithm. So going forward, we are going to solve the longest common substring problem using the Yukonon's algorithm. So the steps for solving this longest common substring problem will be, the first step will be to convert two strings into one string with delimiter between them. So let me give a quick example. If the string is x, y, z, and the second string is a, I'm sorry, a, y, and z, then whatever the final substring for consideration should be x, y, z, dollar, a, y, z, hash. I'm sorry for my crude marksmanship, but yeah, penmanship. But yeah, so this is the dollar symbol. So yes, this should be the final string for consideration. So basically convert the two string into one string with delimiters between them. So the dollar and the hash will be the delimiters between them. Then what we have to do is we have to construct a suffix tree using the Yukonan's algorithm, as we have seen above, in the previous slides. Then what we have to do is we have to find the maximum depth from the constructed tree using any of the approaches, the DFS traversal or maybe the bottom up approach. And then once we get the depth, we have to compare the depth if and see whichever has got the maximum depth is our required string, required substring as in this case. So let us consider the example. So I've got a string s1 pqr, a string s2 qrs. So the combined string will be pqr dollar qrs hash. The suffixes for s1 will be pqr dollar, qr dollar, r dollar, and dollar. For s2 it will be qrs hash, rs hash, s hash, and hash in itself. I'm sorry for the slip of tongue. So this is the suffix tree which I've drawn using the Yukonan's algorithm. So as you can see, the black part is the root node. Now you might be then we'll just verify whether we have drawn all the suffixes or not. So qrs hash is the one suffix tree, yes. Qr hash is the second, yes. Qr dollar p since it is a pqr dollar, yes. Pqr dollar is there, yep. Then dollar hash is also there. S hash, r s hash, yes. R dollar is there, yes. I think we have drawn all the suffixes in the tree. Therefore, I think this is a complete suffix tree. Now you might be seeing some different values in the nodes. These values I'm talking about 0, 1, 1, 0, 1, 1. Let me quickly explain what these values mean. So these values help in determining the length and also determining the tuple value of the substring. Now consider only for the hash values, and you will see that at that node it is all 0, 1. So this is a hash value, then it is 0, 1. This is s hash, then it is 0, 1. So what does this mean is that whatever in whichever leaf node there is a hash, we have given it the value as 0, 1. And for similarly for a dollar, what we have done is we have given it the value as 1, 0. Here it is hash, then 0, 1. Dollar, 1, 0. Hash 1, 0, 1, 0. And here it is, yeah, dollar, so 1, 0. Okay. Also, to find the value for the parent node, so basically this is the parent node for these two child nodes. Therefore, we will just add it, so it becomes 1, 1. Again, here it is the parent node for 3. So it is 1, 0 plus 0, 1, 0, 1. So 0, 1, 0, 1 doesn't make it 0, 2. It is just 0, 1, 0, 1, 1, 0. So it's 1, 1. So if we now apply a depth first traversal search, what we can see is that the longest path being followed is between these two strings, I think. Oh, I'm sorry, this has to be considered as well. Let me just erase that quickly. So the longest path from root to the child node is this and this one. So as you can see, so what this means is that there are two strings which are being repeated. So one is QR and one is R. How I can make that conclusion is, since QR has got the tuple value as 1 1 and R has got the tuple value as 1 1, that is one way. And what also, if we just apply a depth for search traversal, then R and QR, they both have the longest path. Therefore, we can say that QR and R are the longest. So, so the if we consider the third step and the final step, the longest string, therefore the QR. Oh, this should be an S. I'm sorry again. This should be R. So basically, since our string were PQR and QRS, therefore the two strings should be QR and R. And what we'll do is we'll along with this strings, we have to keep a variable called as length, which will be initialized to 0, and what it will do is this length will store the value of the longest substring. So length of QR will be length of QR will be greater than length of R. Therefore, and our longest substring will be QR. Now the reason why this is going to happen in O of n time is because the Yukonen's algorithm and the depth first traversal, the entirely both takes the time of O of ni plus nj. O of, so let me write it quickly. So it is, the entire time is O of ni plus nj, which is equivalent to O of n. Therefore, we can say that longest common substring will be solved using the Yukonen's algorithm. Hence, we have successfully proved that LCS problem can be solved using Yukonen's algorithm in the required O of n time complexity. Thank you for watching my video. If you have got any questions, just you can comment on the video or even email me about it, and I will try to solve them as quickly as possible. Thank you.